So you understand that? Because we remember things, it makes it our lives beautiful. I didn't see that he had to escape Vietnam. I just remember him as not always being there. Can you imagine as a father trying to protect your family? They even threw a grenade in our house once, a gas grenade. Don't think your memory is true. Everyone has a different way to express their love and care. So you understand that? Because we remember things, it makes it our lives beautiful. But it's also our memory that causes us suffering, right? So if you don't know how that works, I had a memory of my father, and my memory was very diluted. I didn't see that he had to escape Vietnam. I just remember him as not always being there, coming home and being angry. When he drinks, he causes a lot of disturbance in the house. He's not like the father of my friends. So I have mental ideas about my father, right? I had really ugly memories. I even told my father one time, which I really regret, that I wish you were not my father. As a young boy, I actually said that. And I'm sure it hurt him very much. And so, see the memory and how we choose to remember that? And every time I hear my father, I get angry. So, how I remember, it caused me a lot of suffering, and I caused my dad a lot of suffering. And through when I met my teacher, he taught me about meditation. He helped me recognize that I can, how do you say it, fortify and change also how I remember my dad. What we call the narrative, right? You know the word narrative? Our stories. Oh, my dad is like da 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 da. And so the new story after meditation that I formed was like my dad had to escape Vietnam, his homeland, during a war. As a young man, probably still in his 30s, his whole family, he was Chinese ancestry. He lived in Da Nang. And every so often, maybe, the military, the police people would come and harass him and ask him to give them money, or else they would threaten to kill us. Can you imagine as a father trying to protect your family? They even threw a grenade in our house once, a gas grenade. As a young boy, I remember running out of the house, and my grandma had like a wet cloth on my mouth, and our eyes were like burning because I think probably my dad didn't pay, so we were threatened. So they knew the Chinese families in Vietnam had money, so they would come at night and harass my parents. So just imagine my father who can't protect his family. So in meditation, I began to see my father as this 20-something-year-old. At that time, it was just my sister and myself. And so I began to see and really visualize my father. And I remember a neighbor that lived near my house in Vietnam. He came here to Plum Village, to Deer Park, because he heard I became a monk. And we don't know him. We got lost touch. He lives in out of state. But he and his family were in San Diego. And he drove up here just for half a day to tell me something. Because he found out I became a monk. And he was, I don't know, he was just kind of curious. But he came up, and I remember having dinner with him. And you know what he told me? He said, your father, he had a little Honda bike, and it has chrome. You know chrome, the metal, and it's very shiny. Your father keeps his bike very clean. And now he has a whole set of tools. They're like tools that he fixes his bike with, and he keeps it very clean. And he said, your father, he never let us borrow his tools, but he let you play with his tools. Isn't it beautiful? He came up here to tell me that my father, and he just randomly, just a small thing, he's like, yeah, he let you play with his tools, and you would clank it as a little boy. And when he told me that, I was, wow. Ooh, I didn't plan for this. So you never know where you find jewels from, right? They sometimes drop on your lap. Even though he shared it kind of flippantly, he didn't, it's like fun, it's just around dinner under the pepper tree. I still remember when I heard it, because that evening I kept thinking about it. It wouldn't leave me. I should have just stuck to my notes. I hate telling stories. But it's good to cry. And I think it's very healing. And in my process of healing, because I grew up a lot of my teenage and young adult, kind of very not happy with my dad. I would like slam the door when he's in the house just to annoy him. I did a lot of mean things to my dad. I would, not visit or like, call him to eat. Yeah, I have these things I still regret. But I don't, he had a hard time, expressing his feelings. My dad is like, but that memory was the beginning of a lot of healing for me. So through meditation, you begin to see things that you rewrite it. That's my point. So through meditation, don't stick with one narrative. Don't stick with one memory, okay? So if those memories don't serve you, they just cause you pain and cause other people to pain, rewrite it. Rewrite it from different angles. You're free to do that. That is the power of memory. Don't think your memory is true. It is just your interpretation. 20 years from now, you're going to look back and you're going to go like, wow. Yeah, like I do now. I look back and I say, wow. The mind that I had as a young person is so still very limited. Didn't see very much. Like I didn't see how much my father loved us. When I was young, like your age, and I go and hang out with my friends, and they drive me all over the place, and then we get stuck, run out of gas or something, and we figure out, and I call my dad, and out of all my 4 friends, none of their parents would pick us up. My dad would drop whatever he's doing, and he'll come pick us up right away. We're squeezing his Toyota truck. Anywhere I get stuck, my dad would come and pick us up. Now, that's pretty cool. And none of the other parents are so busy. My dad's busy too. So I just wanted to honor that a little bit and share with you that our parents, we might not believe it, but they give so much energy and love and care for you that you don't even see. And even if you don't believe it, there's even a little part of it. There's some part in them, a diamond, I call it, right? Like it means nothing, but like me playing with these tools, it's like, what's the big deal, right? But why did this man like come all the way from another state and tell me that in that moment? So life has these little surprises, you know. And it's great, huh? As a monk. That is his secret way of sharing it. You know, like Chinese father, my Chinese father, they're very, they don't like, it's like they have allergy towards emotions. My dad, man, you tell him, you come up and you give him a hug, he'll like, get I can't even put my arm around my dad, you know? He's like, get away from me. But, you know, my dad's like this. He's like, the way he says, I love you, is like, do you need any money? So you have to translate. You have to do a Google translator that translate father language to love, you know? He's like, did you get enough to eat? Or he'll say, do you need more popcorn? He takes us to the movie. He always takes us to the, what do they call it when they first come out? The movie, the premiere. And he'll buy us nachos, popcorn. And like, we're watching the movie and it's so intense. And he always comes in, you guys need more popcorn. Goddamn popcorn. I'm like, Dad, isn't that so sweet? So my dad is just loving to take us to the movie. And the only way he can say, I love you, is to provide you with stuff, go pick you up. So it's through action, okay? So everyone that we love, everyone we know, everyone has a different way to express their love and care. Remember that. I give you those eyes. When I move around the world now, I look and I try to find my brothers and sisters. Every one of them expresses their way of caring and connecting with others in their own way. Right? They will not say it, but they will do it. They won't do it, but they will write you a little letter. They won't, you know, they have so many little quirks, what do you call it? Like little weird quirks. And I love to look like that. And what is that? Why is that helpful? You don't harbor any hate in your heart. Because they are not perfect. All our family members, they are not perfect. They are never going to be perfect. But you don't just pay attention to that. You have to pay attention to their diamonds, the things that they do, even if it's tiny. You have to hang on to that.